The argument essentially boils down to the belief that AI's needs are eventually going to grow so great that we need to move to outer space. It isn't clear what's closer to being real, moon bases or super intelligent AI, but the two seem to be converging in an era of investor enthusiasm that has some worried we are in an AI bubble. Hi everyone, JJ here. Welcome back to the Johnston Lounge. So today we've got more on AI bubble watch. I've been developing this series about the possible AI bubble, which I do think there is, and we will have a look at the major headlines on that have just happened over the past few days, including this main one about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos now want to build AI data centers in space. Is this at the top of the bubble? Is this the kind of thing that you see? I'm not saying we are at the top of the bubble, and there's evidence that we may not be. I'll show you some of the headlines, but we will come back to this story as the main story. This is the Wall Street Journal here. This article, now tech moguls want to build data centers in outer space. Energy constraints in the artificial intelligence race are causing tech companies to think out of this world. Well, I don't think that's the only reason. I mean, they're always thinking about space. Elon Musk wants to build a colony on Mars, and they're both building rockets, so that it's not like they haven't thought about this before. So they seem to think this is the right moment to get more into it, or some sort of competing race to do this. Well, there's a lot of development, a lot of hype about the AI. And so here are some other headlines just in the past few days that's directly related, because Jeff Bezos has had this success. You might have seen the rocket successfully land a booster like SpaceX has. So there is this race developing between them. There's a fake fight, the tech billionaires competing against each other, but they really do have the same goal, similar amounts of wealth and what they're doing. So Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket launches NASA's Mars mission. Yesterday, it was a few days ago now, Blue Origin launched its New Glenn rocket from Cape Canaveral, carrying NASA's Escapade, and landed the first stage on recovery. And then we have this and other AI news, or AI data center news. Google plans $40 billion Texas data center investment amid AI boom. So all of these big tech companies building out their AI. There's a lot of CapEx, capital expenditure going into this, and questions have been asked. Investor Michael Burry has posted about this, saying that it actually is a big problem in relation to this. I won't get into that in this video. And then we have this. Peter Thiel exits Nvidia stake amid AI market volatility. Now, I have mentioned this a few times in videos that I noticed that Peter Thiel mentioned. I think it was at the All In, that podcast, All In Summit. And Peter Thiel was there, and it was a few months ago now, maybe even 6 months ago. And he said it felt like 1999. He actually said that when they were asking him about AI investment, right? And so now this news comes out on November 16th, 2025. Peter Thiel's 13F revealed a full exit from Nvidia despite the AI chip maker recently surpassing a $5 trillion valuation. Well, despite, I mean, that's a huge amount, right? Thiel has warned that AI's hype cycle runs far ahead of its real economics, which is the key point, aligning with his Q3 portfolio shake-up, as observers say he is realizing gains and redeploying capital into 3 mega cap names. Well, he has investments in a lot of things, right? And emerging companies, startup companies, being venture capital. Now, the exit has prompted investor forums on November 16th to show renewed debate among market participants about an AI bubble. Economists say experts outline 3 scenarios for an AI bubble and warn a market correction is likely when household investors realize overvaluation. Well, that's saying with household investors, retail investors, when they get scared out, that's when it'll collapse. That's what they're suggesting. But also, to balance things out here, we have Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway reveals $4 billion stake in Google parent sells more Apple. So they have been selling down Apple in recent quarters, sort of repeatedly. It was such a massive stake they had in Apple. But Warren Buffett, and I've seen him say this in interviews in years gone by, he said about Google that he missed the boat on Google, and they knew, Berkshire Hathaway knew that it was valuable, or that it was going well, because early on they used Google Ads and they saw the effectiveness. So he got it, but he didn't seem to not get it at the right valuation that he wanted. And this was years ago, but now they're jumping in. And if this is anything to go by, I mean, they jumped into Apple famously, and what is it, a 3 or 4 bagger that it's gone up since Buffett invested in it after Steve Jobs died and Tim Cook took over. And so that's done very well. So balancing things out, is it a bubble or at what stage is it? If Warren Buffett or his investors, he's not the only investor there, are now jumping into Google finally. And at this point, when the AI bubble looks to be inflating, is it a big mistake by them, or are they thinking long term? So this was in the last quarter because the 13F filings come out and we see last quarter. So it's old news already. And if you look at the Google stock price, it's kind of gone up since then. However, this says in a filing on Friday, Berkshire Hathaway revealed a roughly $4.3 billion stake. Now, I have to jump in there again and say, just a reminder, that's not actually a lot for Berkshire Hathaway. If you look at, their investments, it's quite big, but it's not a massive investment. I mean, they might build it up over time. I dare say once they've made this decision, if the bubble started to deflate, they would jump in and buy more, I would say. It's just a vote of confidence for Google. Warren Buffett has historically avoided most technology companies, it says, sticking to his circle of competence, and has publicly lamented missed opportunities to invest in Alphabet in recent years. Yes, I mean, it isn't a circle of competence. He said that. He said Apple was, because it was a consumer electronics company, understands that. And he does understand Google, it seems, apart from this AI thing. But that's only one part of Google, right? But it does come at a time with Google where people are saying, is it the innovator's dilemma where they have to destroy their incredible search business, one of the best businesses in history, really, it's because of AI. There's that part of it too, which I'm not sure that he would understand. He said he doesn't understand it, that kind of thing. And so maybe it's somebody else there at the company that's taking over because he is retiring as CEO, right? Now we have this as well. He's been right about AI for 40 years. Now he thinks everyone is wrong. So I think this is important in terms of the bubble. Jan LeCun invented many fundamental components of modern AI. Now he's convinced most of his field have been led astray by the siren song of large language models. So this is really important considering it's ChatGPT, OpenAI that is really the market leader here. Microsoft's involved in that. And so Jan LeCun, who has been a key player in this, he really has, and he has been at Meta recently, and he is now questioning whether it's going to get there with these AI models. And also OpenAI is becoming too big to fail. Sam Altman's ability to intertwine the startup throughout major tech players puts it at the nexus of a vital part of the US economy. So talking about whether AI is getting so big that if it does crash, it's going to take the economy with it. But keep that in mind because this is linked from this one. Now tech moguls want to build data centers in space. Now they say if things weren't already frothy enough around AI, now the excitement is headed toward the moon, literally. And it is only when things are booming where talk like this can really, take off and catch the imagination, I think, when, the sky is the limit, literally. The world's richest men are earnestly talking about traveling to outer space to build gigantic data centers to run artificial intelligence models among the stars. They argue that such missions make the most sense for powering energy-hungry operations. Now, I think it does kind of make some sense because it's about solar power. I'm all for solar power, and the most solar power is in space, right? But there are some problems with it. Part of it getting stuff into space. I mean, they're aiming for it to be reusable, cheaper. So, this is where their thinking is. The moon is a gift from the universe, Jeff Bezos recently said when talking about the benefits of lunar development and using it as a base for launching projects into space. Such talk comes as Blue Origin and Elon Musk SpaceX rocket companies are working to make space travel cheaper and routine. Well, working towards it, Elon Musk is spending a lot of money blowing up a lot of rockets, right? He's saying he's iterating, but the amount of money spent on all that iteration to get this massive rocket into space is a lot of taxpayer money. Some influencers, Tesla influencers, SpaceX influencers, evangelicals say it's being funded by Starlink, which is not strictly true. There's a lot of money still coming from government. And if you compare it to Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' attempt, then they haven't met as many attempts. They've kind of tried to get it right and make it work, and that's working so far. And even landing the booster, right? It isn't clear what's closer to being real, moon bases or super intelligent AI, but the two seem to be converging in an era of investor enthusiasm that has some worried we are in an AI bubble. So these two things are linked, right? These AI data centers, what can we do? I mean, they really want to build so many on Earth. There have been some predictions of AI data centers really taking over. They need a lot of energy and they need water. And it does mention here Elon Musk's data center is using gas turbines. It's not really the sustainable abundance that he keeps talking about. To be clear, the current economics of space based data centers don't make sense, but they could in the future, perhaps as soon as a decade or so from now, according to an analysis from Phil Metzger, a research professor at the University of Central Florida and formerly of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. He says space enthusiasts have long sought a business case to enable human migration beyond our home world. He posted on X amid the new hype. I think AI servers in space is the first real business case that will lead to many more. So, yes, there's a long way to get here, but as I said, during this hype, it's like during the internet bubble, or, as that was going up, there was a lot said about where it's going. The internet's going to be amazing, and it is, right? But it took a long time to get here. As I keep saying, streaming video and all that, web TV, that was named back then. I mean, video streaming started back then, but there wasn't just the infrastructure or even the demand for it back then. It took a long time, and things got way ahead of itself. As Peter Thiel said there, he thinks that this build out or the hype here has gone too far, too big, too fast. And Jeff Bezos himself, which I made a video about, saying that he thinks this is an AI infrastructure bubble, but not necessarily a bad thing. And Peter Thiel said this too, that you can pour a lot of money in development in a short time. Yes, it might be a bubble, but in the long run, a lot of it has been built. Like those fiber optic cables, the capacity did get used eventually. Back on Earth, President Trump has already declared an energy emergency, and the US government says we need to add massive amounts of capacity to handle the expected power demands coming in a few years. Meanwhile, AI companies are building out their own energy generating capabilities as they wait for the power grid to catch up. Okay, so this energy thing is a reason that I think that the AI bubble, if there is one, and I do think there is one, could, as it grows and grows, could affect the US economy because we talk about picks and shovels related to gold mining in those early days. That's where it came from. The picks and shovels of AI is the data centers, and beyond that, the energy needed. So to develop a lot of energy, so energy companies' stocks have gone up. And so the bubble kind of is spreading out from anything involved in AI, as far as I can see. Elon Musk's AI, for example, has been using gas turbines as temporary power sources, as OpenAI is pushing for the government to partner with companies to add 100 gigawatts a year. Now, I've done a video about this because that's highly problematic when he brought in gas turbines there. He built it really quickly, which Nvidia really liked. Obviously, selling the chips, he was praised by CEO of Nvidia about that, how it's built faster than anything ever before. But they had to use gas turbines to power it. It's in Memphis, where I think they got a sweetheart deal to build it there, but it's really poisoning parts of the community there because of the pollution. And Elon's talking about sustainable abundance, right? Heading for that. It's not really in line with that. I mean, it says temporary here, but how long is that going to go on before they can have sustainable energy powering all of these data centers? Let's put 100 gigawatts into perspective. 40 years ago, when Back to the Future came out, a key point in the movie was the need to generate such an incredible amount of energy that time travel seemed plausible to an audience, a movie going audience. The story revolved around needing to find 1.21 gigawatts of power, or the equivalent of a lightning strike, to send Doc Brown's famed DeLorean time machine back home. Maybe they could use the Cybertruck these days if they're going to make a new movie and up the power on that. Now, 1 gigawatt, which the energy department once noted was roughly half the power generated by the Hoover Dam, seems paltry. And Musk, Bezos, and Alphabet chief executive Sundar Pichai are saying stuff that sounds like pure science fiction for a new generation. The argument essentially boils down to the belief that AI's needs are eventually going to grow so great that we need to move to outer space. There, the sun's power can be more efficiently harvested, which is a simple idea and it does make sense. There's no clouds, there's no kind of weather to disrupt it there. So you get the full effect of the sun in terms of generating solar power. In space, the sun's rays can be direct and constant for solar panels to collect. No clouds, no rainstorms, no nighttime. Demands for cooling could also be cut because of the vacuum of space, very cold. But getting all this material there and building it there, I mean, it's got to be way more expensive. So they are talking in the future, but generating, hype and momentum for this to happen during this upswing, this boom in AI with all the funding going towards it. Plus, there aren't those pesky regulations that executives like to complain about, slowing construction of new power plants to meet the data center needs. In space, no one can hear the NIMBY scream. And so these tech billionaires, the richest people in the world, really competing to do this, and they obviously they would want investment, and this would, I'm sure, cost trillions to do this. So, what do you think of this? Building AI data centers in space? Would you rather that they are in space? I think that, a lot are going to be built on Earth first, maybe until people start complaining about how much power they're using and how big they are. People are already saying that. And also with these, the gas turbines being used, and a lot of infrastructure is being built for this AI dream. And people like Jan LeCun saying that it may be wasted or in the wrong direction. It's going to take longer. We're barking up the wrong tree with these large language models that pointing to that there's too much hype about it and not much real development, or it's slowing down. They're promising to get to AGI. That's what Sam Altman's is saying with OpenAI. That's what they're going for. And that's why they need so much money, so much investment with very little revenue so far in comparison. So let me know what you think about this. Do you think it's a good idea to try and build data centers in space with these tech billionaires leading the charge and perhaps owning it? Of course, they'll be owning them if they get built in space, I would say. So it's more about power as well as building out the infrastructure. So let me know what you think about this. Right now, I'm going to put a related video on screen if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching on Spotify, I'll put these related links in the description as well. I'll put a subscribe link on screen on YouTube, but do follow on Spotify as well. There's quite a few people watching over there now. It's building week by week, which is great. Thanks for watching wherever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.